Williams, CEO Face, and you know, Paco, Melly Mel, and of course me, D to the R.E. Wowzers. I try to tell these rappers, yo, go get away. Wowzers. We run this radio like every day. Wowzers. Oh, don't be.
We have in the presence of our midst someone who's undoubtedly paid his dues from starting from a general manager of Classic Entertainment to running through the streets to make sure people pay attention to artists such as Ghetto Concepts, Rascals, Too Short, Diddy, among others. Not only has he assisted in getting talented artists or finding talented artists, but he's also added a few more connections to his repertoire. Currently, he not only runs his own company's CLK Creative Works, which is a full-service management and consulting firm, which represents clients within the industry, the entertainment industry. They also manage Emily, Sadia Baba Taliba, more so, and Soze Brooks, as well as co-founding on Digital Blast. To top it off, he's also become the manager for IDLA, which is the independent digital licensing agency. He also is the co-founder of the Stylist Group, which hosts the Urban Awards show, otherwise known as Stylist Spinfest and Stylist DJ Awards. Welcome to Royalty Radio. We have David Clip Cox.
So, what's happening? How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How's everything going with you?
I'm great.
You have a wealth of experience and knowledge within the Canadian music scene.
A little bit.
Well, when you were growing up, was it something that you were always passionate about in terms of music, in terms of management, or was it always a business thing?
Music's been in these veins since a young youth.
Okay.
So I've been always like, you know, as a kid, you know, your parents get you to take piano lessons, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, in the 80s, I was a b-boy and whatnot, so that's kind of like, I guess, my big introduction into like, I guess you could say hip-hop music and whatnot.
Okay.
And just as time goes by, you know, you start to find what works for you and what area, you know, you want to strive in, you know what I'm saying?
What was it about the business side that attracted you?
I think it just fell in my lap, actually.
Okay.
I was in a rap group back in the early 90s, okay. And we had some success, and being with, you know, a pretty large crew at the time, I just found myself kind of fitting the mold when it came time to, like, you know, making phone calls, connecting with people. I had no problem doing that stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it just kind of, like I said, fell in my lap, and I felt like that was something that I liked doing. Okay. And it was just something I felt like, okay, you know what, this works. Okay. And even like in the 90s when I started putting out our own records, right. Literally records, for me it was like, I felt like a lot of that was trial and error. Okay. So working for record companies for quite a while helped kind of, you know, give me a little bit more foundation, structure, and knowledge and experience. Of
course, from your humble beginnings as a GM at Classic Entertainment, all the way to becoming an A&R at Universal Canada, you've seen the spectrum on the business side of the Canadian urban scene. For you personally, what would you say has been the biggest change that you've seen from your start at Classic Entertainment to the present day?
I've seen changes go up, changes go down, and back up. You know what I mean? Like there was, you know, of course there was a time before BET, before before we even had one urban station that was catered to, you know, to hip hop music and R&B music in this country, to all of a sudden seeing a whole heap of stations pop up across the country, which obviously was like a great positive for Canadian artists to get heard. Right. And then all of a sudden them all switching over to CHR and rock stations and not going with that flow, and then only being one station. Yeah. Also the rise of, like, you know, independence artists here. Also the rise of patriotic. Like I think in the last 5 years, there's a lot more DJs that will play like Canadian records in a club.
So out of all of your experience as a music industry professional, what's one of the most rewarding moments in your career?
I have a lot. There is not just one, but I mean, signing, you know, being able to be involved in the likes of Julie Black, you know, getting a gold plaque to put on my wall for something like that, you know, all the way down to creating the Stylist Awards.
The internet, of course, it also ties in your role with content manager of IDLA. Mm-hmm. How do you compare digital distribution to physical distribution? Do you feel it's an easier sell or it's a harder sell?
Physical is an easy sell when you're hand to hand.
Okay.
You know, digital is what it is now. I mean, it's still hard to get people to go and even buy, you know, a record on iTunes or wherever you want to shop for your music. But at the end of the day, I still think physical, like the HMVs are downsizing. It's like there's not really a lot of places for people even to go buy the CD. So, you know, I'd have to say probably more than 50% of the physical buyer who goes out and buys a physical CD is getting them at the live shows.
Going into the next segment, the Stylist Spinfest DJ Awards.
Yes.
Who helped you come up with this concept? What inspired the decision? Where were you when the stroke of genius arrived?
I was actually at another Urban Awards show.
Okay.
Kind of not, it wasn't a smack of genius like that. It was my partner, Mike Z, who ran Canada's probably, you know, biggest and one of the Canada's largest urban record pools. For all you youth, a record pool is when
Give them the lesson.
I mean, DJs used to get the records from record pools. You know what I mean? That before vinyl, they had to go get the records from somewhere. And Mike had pretty much like one of the leading record pools in the country for 14 years. And with his record pools, he used to team up with another record pool and do award shows. And they were very small, intimate award shows for the DJs, and they were very Toronto-centric. A huge Toronto-centric. And he took a break for a little bit, and when I was at Universal, he came and approached me and said, hey, you know, I want to bring back, first of all, you should know, like, my background with and why I'm so supportive of DJ culture is just because, like, it's something that I've always been a basement DJ. You know what I mean? Like, I used to do a college radio show in the early 90s, and, you know, I DJ'd, and it's just something that I've always believed is a foundation of urban music, period. And especially in this country, if you're trying to get your music heard, I always believe you got to go to the DJ first. And if I can touch, you know, 100 DJs in the country who are playing non-stop in all the key spots, I can get that artist heard versus fighting to get your music heard at like Chum. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that's the battle, right? So at the end of the day, you know, I just always believe that the DJs is the foundation, and they need and I need to put them on a pedestal that they deserve to be put on. So when Mike stopped doing his record pool awards, he approached me and said, hey, I want to bring them back. What do you think? And I was like, I think it's whack. I said, I don't think you should do it. I think it's too Toronto-centric. You only give awards to the guys that are in the record pools, and there's dope DJs who aren't even in your record pools. And this is like right when a lot of DJs were starting just to get out of the vinyl market, you know? So I was like, you know, if you're gonna do this, you gotta kind of eliminate all that and really make it across the country. And the fact that I've been promoting records to DJs across the country for a long period of time at that time it just made sense for us to kind of collaborate, because I had a lot of those connections on that level, and we had great synergy and great ideas to do it together. And we went to the last Urban Music Awards, and it kind of was a big spark for us. We were like, you know what, we could do something huge, you know, and done in a, not to dismiss what other people did, but we just had a big vision for what we wanted to do.
For some people, critics, of course, are always going to be critics for whatever you do. Some will say that the awards, as are any, are solely based on connections and who you know within the industry. Some will refuse to acknowledge it. What do you say to that?
You know what? The challenges with the awards, I must admit, I think you can either go one way and people are going to hate it, you go another way, people are going to hate it. So it's like, I can't really win. No matter which way I go, I know there's going to be some people who are going to be upset. So I just try to do the best I can to make sure that everybody's properly represented.
What are your expectations for this year's event?
Oh, this year, I mean, we moved to a new venue. And I think doing that mainly because we put a lot of money and a lot of time into the production of the award show. It's an hour and a half of your time. It would be nice if everybody in that theater was there to watch those performances. It was nice to, like, you're there to watch an award show. And the Queen Elizabeth Theater was a great theater, but too many people there just want to drink and snooze. And that's cool too, but there's an after party for that. Right down here at Royalty Radio, I'm representing the Stylist Awards coming up May the 28th. Be there or be square. Alright? And you want more information, log in to www.stylishgroup.ca and be there because, not because I'm telling you, but be there because if you're part of the industry and you love and you want to support what's going on in your own backyard, this is the place to be at. Alright?
With every ounce of my love.